Hello students, this is Hardik sir, and as you know that we have already completed our both the parts of history 1, tracing changes through 1,000 years. Now we are in the third part. The title of the third part is Region and Empire. In this part we are going to see that there were number of large states like Cholas, Tughlaqs and even Mughals. About those we are going to study in second, third and fourth chapter respectively. So these regions actually controlled many regions. These particular dynasties controlled many regions, many different regions. Even we find a Sanskrit Prashasti in chapter 2. We have the example of Prashasti. Prashasti means praising of ruler. So that Prashasti describes us about the Delhi Sultan Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban ruled for 1266 CE to 1287 CE. So that Prashasti describes us, that Prashasti explains us that he was the ruler of vast empire. Ghiyasuddin Balban was a ruler of vast empire who ruled for a period of 1266 CE to 1287 CE. His empire included from Bengal in the east to Ghazni in Afghanistan in the west, and also his empire included the part of South India that was known as Dravid by that time. So people of different regions, Gauda, Andhra, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Gujarat, they all surrendered before his armies. As it is given, apparently fled before his armies, they all surrendered before his armies. So this is the Prashasti that explains something about Ghiyasuddin Balban. We are also having the achievements of Nag Bhatta that is given in chapter 2. As you can find, it has been in page number 19. So the achievements of Nag Bhatta. So many rulers who described their achievements in Prashastis. So these Prashastis actually consisted about the achievements of the rulers that we are going to see already, and we have already studied about the Gupta dynasty, Samudragupta, in already 6th standard. So one Prashasti which is written in Sanskrit and which has been found from Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh, modern Madhya Pradesh, we have found this. This Prashasti describes the exploits of Nag Bhatta, who was a Pratihara king. The kings of Andhra, Sandhava, Vidarbha, that is the part of Maharashtra, Kaling, that is the part of Odisha, they all fell before him. That means they all surrendered before him, and him, that means Nag Bhatta. So all these armies surrendered before Nag Bhatta. He won a victory over Chakrayuddha, that was the ruler of Kannauj. He defeated the king of Vanga, that was the ruler of Banga, Anarth, a part of Gujarat, Malwa, that was the part of Madhya Pradesh, and even Kirat, those were the forest people. Tirushka, that means Turks, Vatsa, Matsya, they were the kingdoms in North India. So this Prashasti describes us information about the exploits which were the regions or which were the people were totally under the control of Nag Bhatta. So this was the Prashasti example from lesson number 2. So we have also the thing given that historians regard these as exaggerated claims of conquest. So according to the historians, these are exaggerated claims. So whatever the Prashastis are written, they are much exaggerated than real things. Sometimes the historians believe like that. At the same time, even the historians try to understand why even rulers kept claiming to have control over different parts of the subcontinent. That is also a question for historians, that why the rulers claimed like this, that they had controlled many parts of the subcontinent. We are here given with the provinces of Delhi Sultan during Muhammad Tughlaq's rule, and that has been given in this map. You will find the same on page number 9. So just go through the map very carefully in your book. Next, as we can see, language and region. So even Amir Khusrau in 1318, he also wrote about different languages in the part of Gujarat, in the part of India, that you will find that a different language in every region of this land. Means you can find number of languages which are given. So as you can see, there were Sindhi, Lahori, Kashmiri, Dwar Samudri, that was used in South Karnataka. Then we have Telangani, that was used in Andhra Pradesh, Gujri in Gujarat, Malbari in Tamil Nadu, Gauri in Bengal, Awadhi in eastern Uttar Pradesh, and Hindarvi in the area of around Delhi. So there were a number of languages spoken, even written, in different parts of our country. Amir Khusrau went on to explain that in contrast to these languages, there was even Sanskrit, which did not belong to any region, and this was the language of scholars. This was not the language of common people, because common people did not know it. Common people were not aware about Sanskrit. Only the Brahmins were knowing Sanskrit. Now, as you have seen, number of languages which were used during medieval history in India. So you are requested to make a list of all these languages which Amir Khusrau has used, and whatever you notice about it that has changed over time, that also you are supposed to write the names of. So next we can find that many regions already possessed distinct geographical dimensions and their own language. Means the different regions of India by 700 CE, the different regions of India had their own geographical dimensions and even their own language they had. Along with the language, they also had their own culture, which we are going to study in chapter 9. They were also associated with specific ruling dynasties. So whatever the language and culture was enjoyed by people was totally associated with the ruling dynasties, and between or among these dynasties there used to be conflicts, and because of these conflicts, Cholas, Khiljis, Tughlaqs and Mughals were able to build an empire. So as the dynasties kept on making conflicts with one another, they ultimately formed an empire, and these empires were pan-regional. So what is meant by pan-regional? That means having a span over diverse regions or spanning over diverse regions. So not all these empires were equally stable. These empires had different period of time or different areas under them, and even they were neither all successful. And for that comparison we are given a table in 3rd and 4th chapter. So let us have a look on 3rd and 4th chapters table about the Khalji and Mughal dynasties. So as you can see on your screen that we are helped with table 1, that is from page number 31, and here we are helped with Mughal emperors, that is on page number 48. So just pause for a while and just go through this all data. When the Mughal emperor declined, ultimately when Mughal empire declined, so after this many small states re-emerged, that we are going to study in 10th chapter. So after the collapse of a very big empire, there were very small states which emerged. But after the years of this imperial pan-regional rule had altered, it had changed the character of the regions. So as you can see that there were a number of changes, but they all had ultimately over a period of time left with the traditions. Across most of the subcontinent, the regions were left with the legacies, means the gifts of big and small states that had ruled over them. So the ruling dynasties had their own culture, had their own language, own traditions. They ultimately were apparent, means they were seen in the emergence of many distinct and shared traditions. So because of this there were a number of traditions, and that we can see in realms of governance. So that is clearly seen in governance, even in the management of economy, even in their cultures, and even in languages. So we find all these things in number of aspects. So during the period of 700 CE to 1750 CE, the character of the different regions did not grow in isolation, means it kept on spreading. So these traditions, this culture spread across the subcontinent, and that is the basic reason that we find diversity even today in India. So these regions felt the impact of larger pan-regional forces of integration, and without ever quite losing their distinctiveness, means everyone had some different culture, different traditions, different languages, but it hasn't lost it, and that's the basic reason that we find this differences today also in our country. So whatever we have already gone through, so we have only the 4 points to sum up. As you can find that we had number of large states like Cholas, Tughlaqs and Mughals. Sanskrit Prashasti, that describes about Delhi Sultan Balban, that tells he was a ruler of vast empire, and this stretching from Bengal to Ghazni, even including the parts of Dravid, that is South India. There were conflicts, and because of conflicts ultimately number of dynasties came into power, and when Mughal empire declined, after that in 18th century number of states also re-emerged. So Mughal empire declined in 18th century. Thank you for this part. We will be continuing the next part. Thank you.